Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at enCore energy. It is time for another update, and on this chart we have previously been tracking the idea of a leading diagonal forming to the upside, where we had a wave 1 up, a wave 2 down, and here is where the scenarios would have split. And then in the yellow we were tracking a third wave up, a fourth wave down, and here a fifth wave to the upside. And in this case we were looking for an ABC structure within this wave 5. Then we also had the blue interpretation that was suggesting an extension within the wave 3, so the same diagonal pattern, but this would have been only the A wave up, here a B wave down, and then a C wave to the upside. And in this case the wave C, this follow-up movement to the upside, instead of being as in the fifth wave up, would have been a 5-wave structure to the upside. And honestly, those scenarios, those interpretations are still very much valid. But based on the general market sentiment in this sector, I am interested in tracking a type of a different structure. I am interested in tracking an impulse in this area instead. So this is where I want to shift to this scenario, where instead of looking for a diagonal structure, I'm looking here at a series of 1-2 setups, and then here to develop a third wave to the upside. And you may be thinking, but okay, can this not be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside and have a more clear pattern this way? Well, actually no, this cannot be the third wave to the upside because it failed to create an impulse within such a structure. And in this interpretation, we are still tracking a 5-wave move that has developed in this area, but within a leading diagonal. And in that case, it can be a wave 1 and it can be here a wave 2, and we can be tracking an impulse here in the wave 3, but this movement itself cannot be a wave 3. Now internally, or actually before we get there, an ideal target for such a wave 3 would be the 138.2% extension around the $140 level. It is quite high and it may seem quite far, but honestly I do believe it is possible to build it based on the current structure. And yeah, even the general market sentiment currently is pretty bullish, and it is not a target that I'm giving you for any certain amount of time frame. Yeah, for any certain amount of time. It could be years, it could be decades. It is a general ideal target for a wave 3. Now, before we get actually to the shorter time frame, I do want to point out a bug on this chart. So here on the daily and the weekly, we do see that the top here was around the $5 and something. And if I actually switch to the 4-hour time frame, it seems that the top actually extends to the $16 level. It surely must be a bug, because here on the Toronto Stock Exchange, this doesn't happen. And I assume that it is just some bug with the currency exchange on this Nasdaq chart, but I still prefer to use it because it has much more volume, especially now, than what we have on the other exchange. So anyway, here in the shorter time frame, we have also been tracking this idea of a 1-2 setup, and we had reached it. We had reached it in the previous video, I believe, at least the first level of support, and we were looking for resistance for a possible extension within the wave 2, but we didn't get it. And honestly, it's not a problem. We did fulfill the minimum expectations within this correction in a wave 2, and we are basically ready to go into a third wave to the upside. So before we actually consider this wave 3, I would like to point out that based on the retracement, how shallow it was and how we seem to extend already within a possible initial 5-wave move to the upside, I do have to warn you that instead of being a 1-2-3 developing in this area, it really could be a 1-2-1-2, but there is a realistic risk that this could turn into an ABC setup. So in that case, we may be looking either at a much deeper retracement, and then the impulse would basically fail, where we would have a larger 1-2 but within a diagonal structure. Then we can still track continuation to the upside from that point, but not within an impulse, not within the wave 3. And then there is the risk that we get a reset in the wave 2 and this turns into a larger ABC movement to the downside. And I just want you to be aware of the potential risk in that area, especially because internally from this wave 2 bottom, we did manage to create what could be a 5-wave structure to the upside in a wave 1 that is plausible, and it doesn't really even matter where the wave 1 top is. I can allow it to be a 5-wave structure. But then we failed to create a third wave up, right? This could be within a leading diagonal, it could be a wave 3, but even at that point, the wave 2 is much larger than what we would have here in a wave 4. In any case, I want to track it. So I do have to consider that, okay, maybe we are tracking here a leading diagonal to the upside, where this could be the third wave up. We could be looking now for a fourth wave correction and then a fifth wave to the upside to build another wave 1 up, and it would be part of the larger wave 3. That would be no problem, but keep in mind the risk that this could be an ABC movement. Now, how may we tell the difference? Well, in a wave C, I would normally look for the ADL target at the 100% extension, the $6.5 level. And in a third wave up, I would like it to reach the ADL target at the 138.2% extension at the $10.2 level, or around that area. And depending on the extension of this movement and depending on the internal structure, we may need to consider it regardless, even if it does reach that point, that it is a wave C, because a third wave in such a case where we have a 5-wave structure in this initial wave 1, a third wave would need to be an impulse, and so far we haven't built any impulse. Now, what else can we track here? Well, we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is possible. It is a realistic expectation. Then we also have the possibility to track a series of 1, 2 setups in this area, and in that case, it could turn out to be extremely bullish, but there is an element that does need to fulfill, which is that we must start pretty soon a very strong push to the upside in such a wave 3. And if that does not happen, if we continue to trend to the sideways, and let me tell you, the structure does get more and more choppy, and we do not have clear waves, we do not have even a clear count within this area, I have to say. I would assume that this could be a 1, 2, 3, something like that, and then we get a 4, 5 to complete possibly an additional 1, 2 setup. But there is the risk that this could turn into a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in that scenario, what would I be looking for? Well, if we want to keep this continuation, this possibility for the uptrend alive, I would need it to hold here at least the 61.8% retracement. And I believe if we fail that, even other interpretations that would allow continuation to the upside would fail. Maybe we could allow for something for the 78.6% retracement of, let's see, an idea like an A-B movement here, but it is an extremely similar level. So what I would be watching out for basically is the $3.4 level. And as long as we hold that, we can still look for here a 1, 2 that could allow for an explosivity in a third wave to the upside. But otherwise, on this larger time frame, I would be watching out for the larger time frame support zone, which is between the $3.3 level all the way down to the $2.7 level. And if we fail to even hold that, the 61.8% retracement, I will probably need to shift to considering that this wave 2 has not yet bottomed and that we may be in a larger WXY structure that could develop to the downside, maybe even an ABC movement. We need to be really careful because this area, not very clear, not something I would personally follow, especially not on this time frame. And I would keep away until the structure clears out a bit. It is, I have to say, I'm not very confident even in this count. I believe no count really is very clear or provides a very clear development in this area at this point. So for now, these are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.